Hey Dan and anyone else watching. I just wanted to make this video before the release of Rearmed because I still have a few more opinions about the combat, and obviously I want Rearmed to be the best game possible. And I do think a video would be better to, keep all my ideas in one place because, I have a lot of ideas. Anyway, so first of all, what I want to say is the newish Power Strike animation, like charged up, it's a lot more powerful looking. But one thing I did want to say about that was it kind of looks a bit more powerful than how it sounds. Like, combat in Rearmed has obviously improved a lot since I made that one gigantic combat post, but on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd still give it maybe like an 8, because the one thing that lacks, I think personally, is the sound. Because it doesn't, most attacks, especially the standard attacks, they don't sound like they hit hard enough. And I also brought up the Power Strike because the animation, even though the animation is, it looks really strong, the sound doesn't match it well enough, in my opinion, to make it feel as strong as it looks. This was for, I remember this also, oh yeah, like Vandier's combat particles. Like, I really don't like the combat particles, or the attack particles, or whatever you want to call them. So yeah, thanks for the toggle. But on Vandier, with his standard attacks, it has like the massive attack particles. It's just that his attacks, even though like the big particles, they emphasize the strength behind his attacks, and that's something I like, because I don't mind Vandier's particles because, well, I don't mind them in the same way I mind Lone Warrior's attack particles, because Vandier's are like big and powerful and they convey strength and like hitting hard, but the sound effect behind them is just lacking, in my opinion. The sound effect doesn't go very well with the attack particles, because, well, yeah, because the sound effect just isn't strong enough. It's not crushing enough. It doesn't sound like it hits hard enough. And also, it doesn't help that the same with any weapon that Vandier has, whether it's the katana or the master sword. Maybe it'd be cool if, like, the attack particles changed in size and whatever based on the damage of the weapon. But it's just, whenever you attack someone with the regular attack, it's just like a regular old hit. Now contrast that with Armed with Wings 2, where all of Vandier's attacks, just about, I don't want to pull it up right now, but they were all like, you could feel it. I don't want to, that's a terrible way to put it, but you could, maybe you understand. I've tried to explain this before. Actually, in fact, I have. You can feel the damage that Vandier does in Awe 2. Like, all of his attacks. Even though, I'll admit, the sound effects are a bit over the top at times, it still got the job done. And whenever you, I'm just repeating myself now, but whenever you hit someone with it, like any attack, in fact, probably the underwhelming attacks, sound-wise, were probably the special attacks, but whatever attack you did, standard attack, you felt it. It felt powerful. And even with the his ice ball, when he shot it out, there's just like this, I think there's this like, not really an explosion, but it's loud. There's some loud sound effect when he shoots out the ice ball, and it's powerful because the sound effect. So I know in my combat thread I talked about like visuals and other stuff that are related to combat, but right now in Rearmed's current state, I would say that a lack of stronger sound effects for attacks is what's really holding the combat back from like an 8 to like a 10. Because Rearmed, its success, in my opinion, from what I see, its popularity, or its enjoyment rather, is going to be from its combat. So if you really want to maximize the enjoyment of this game, you need to maximize the enjoyment of combat. And luckily for Rearmed, it's doing very well in that, but I still think it could take the extra step. Like, for example, for improved sound effect, let's take the skull enemies, right? I think it would be cool personally if they had a unique sound effect where if you hit them, you would have like a skull cracking sound or a bone cracking sound. That's kind of just an idea I had, but I guess I'm trying to throw in everything into this one video, so might as well. So yeah, sound effects. I think I hammered that point pretty well now. And then there's also, oh yeah, one other thing I wanted to talk about. You'll remember maybe when I posted, when you were doing your stream and I posted the GIF at the end and say, hey, look, the attacks for some reason look more powerful in the GIF than in the real game. Well, I did a little bit of thinking about that, and I think the reason is because since the GIF's frame rate is lower than the game's, whatever the screen, like, you know, the screen shakes or moves when you attack someone, it's more sudden in its shaking, because since it has a lower frame rate, it moves from one spot to the next like a lot more quicker in one frame rather than in Rearmed. Since you have all the frames in the game, it's a more smooth rumble or shake. So I think combat would be better if all the camera shaking from attacks would be more sudden, not so smooth. Would be like more. I don't want to say more cutty, but I don't know any other way to phrase it. But yeah, that's another improvement I'd like to suggest. Also, since I'm encompassing everything, I know I've said this before, but in the original game, when you down Power Strike, the camera jolts forward, and it added a lot of power to the attack, because the camera, like, it wouldn't just stay on the enemy, it would go, well, I think it would go, if I remember correctly, it would go past the enemy really fast, and then the enemy would, like, fly past the camera once the camera stopped moving so fast. And I know in Rearmed it's probably not that way because you want us to, like, look at the pretty animation of the Power Strike, but all you'd have to do in Rearmed would be to make the camera just go, like, a little bit more, like, well, a little bit out, but really fast. Like, it's hard to explain, especially when I'm playing, because I'm trying to imagine what would happen. But anyway, if once you did your Power Strike attack, it would jolt forward really quickly, but it didn't necessarily have to go very far out. Your character could still be in frame. So we'd still get to see the pretty animation, and we'd still have, like, the really powerful attack effect. Just trying to think about what else. I'm not really sure if there's much else, because Rearmed has definitely improved a lot with its combat. Maybe with that, no, yeah, I guess that's just about it. If I have anything, I'll, like, add it, or I'll tell you, because, you know, I give you a lot of opinions. If this video is helpful to you to get my feedback without having to read through, like, an essay to figure out what little things haven't been improved, in my opinion, I'll keep making these videos about just about everything, every topic I've covered before on the forum. So yeah, thanks for being a developer who likes to hear feedback from their players. I really appreciate it. It certainly helped my gameplay, and I'm still waiting for the classic skins and the custom keybinds.